1-4 versus Terran, 9-12 this season. He hasn't had the best season, but he is kind of back on his up and up a little bit.
On his up and up, and he's the one holding up the show as per usual as well. Everything is set up now though, so we can enjoy him in all his glory. 2-0 versus Sorry in unofficial as well.
Yeah,
not sure where they came from.
Possibly like Kespa Cup qualifiers or something like that, maybe.
It sounds like it just might be that actually.
Yeah, because like Flash doesn't usually play on online tournaments, and he didn't qualify by points in Pro League, and he did get into the Kespa Cup, so that's probably where that's from.
Yeah.
Sorry is 2-0 versus Terran, and I just don't. I actually kind of favor Sorry going into this one. I don't know about Flash's TVT.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure we're going to see some pretty heavy mech style from Flash at the very least, but I think from Sorry, he's shown a lot of aggression, a lot of proxies in all his matchups. I'm sure we're going to see something like that this time around as well.
Yeah. I mean, he knows most of the time when he wins his matches, he's playing against a player better than he is, more experience than he is, so oftentimes he just kind of cheeses his way through. He is very aggressive. All right, guys, let's go into this. Our Terran versus Terran. Can Sorry tie it up, or is Flash going to take the 2-0 lead? Down here in the red, it's Flash, known as the god of RTS games.
And up here in the top left, we do have the SKT Terran. Sorry. The young gun.
Well, the newer player, less experienced, often a cheeser. You know?
That seems to be the trend with a lot of these younger players as well. They start out as cheesers. Maru was especially a cheeser back in his prime days.
Yeah. Even look at like Departure. Like Departure's played for a long time. He used to be on like even Fnatic back in the day at Zenix as well. And you know, he's starting to beat some of these players like Hero with cheeses. And then when he went and played in Gfinity, he was doing a ton of cheesing. And his finals versus First, which as crazy as to say, I actually kind of favor Departure versus First because we never see First in Pro League. There must be a reason for it. Departure gets fielded really regularly, so I was like, I think he's favored to win this. But he won that basically off the back of a ton of all-ins and cheeses and super hyper aggression. These
I
younger
do
players,
remember seeing that, yeah.
They just do that.
They just do that. It's funny. Yeah, but I mean, good for Departure getting a win finally. You know, he's been around for a long time to get that opportunity. It's always a great thing.
Yeah. Definitely not like the highest level tournament, not the best group of players, but of course with scheduling conflicts like, you know, a big tournament like Gamescom, it's just bound to happen.
Yeah, certainly so.
Well, we see actually Barracks First are both players, so no sort of super early gas first, a little bit safer because sometimes we've seen Reapers, you know, get a little bit of damage done in the early game, you know, just simply when, you know, someone goes for a gas first or a CC first, obviously, which is kind of out of this matchup completely at this point. But notice that Sorry actually walls for Reapers. Flash does not, so that actually could come into play here a little bit.
Yeah, I'm sure we're going to see Reapers from Sorry as well. Probably from both, actually, judging by their gas count right now and where they're at. Be surprised if otherwise, but you know, there's always that option to make Marines go into that earlier factory as well.
Yeah, it looks like that's what he's going to do. He's just going to wall this off. Because I was wondering about that rally, I'm like, he should rally down, right? But it looks like he wants to just get a Reaper out.
I guess it makes it easier. Like if you're going for that Marine build, you block off that path up to the back of your base. And you just put Marines at the front, and you can just completely shut down any sort of Reaper scouting.
So that sign there just basically talking about SKT's dominance, saying it's 1v1, but it feels like, you know, like a 1v6 between those other teams. Looks like that. I didn't see if they listed Prime there or not. It'd be funny if they didn't.
That'd be weird if they did. CC straight off the Reaper.
Yeah. This is kind of a unique build. We don't see. You normally see players go into factory tech and kind of attack into their CCs. Both players going for fast CC. This is not what we've been seeing. It's two TVTs yesterday in Pro League that neither of them looked anything like this.
It's like a gentleman's agreement or something.
Yeah.
It's like, you know what, let's just expand. Ooh, this Reaper gonna survive. Just.
Well, you know, I like Sorry's position because he has his CC on the low ground. However, his factory is slightly delayed.
Good scout here. Big mistake to move the Marines out that early on, and it's going to give away all his tech.
Yep. Especially the one gas. So he knows he's not worrying about anything following this up too soon. The Reaper is going to struggle to escape, though, because of that wall in. I think he's probably going to go down here. Sorry, buddy.
Totally worth it. Totally worth it. Saw everything he needed to see. Flash in a very comfortable place right now.
Yep, doesn't have to worry about Banshees. You know, is not going to necessarily get an eBay anytime soon, and will not have to worry about, you know, or just doesn't even need to, like, rush out a Raven. He knows that he's and his opponent are on the same level. But he does obviously know as well that his orbital is not at the low ground. That's going to be something he wants to send down right away because he is safe, because he is free to do so. A Widow Mine on the way for Sari here because he doesn't have any information. He actually is, you know, because he didn't go for a Reaper, a bit blind here. So he wants to play safer as a result.
He's going to throw it down in front of his natural some point. And might want to pick it up a little bit later and go for that kind of Marine minivac with a Widow Mine sort of harassment, aggression. Flash, you know, already pumping the Hellions. I think we are certainly going to see him transition to mech at some point. Not a bad map for it at all. Start things off though, Medivac with these Hellions. So maybe some pretty, maybe he's going to ferry some Marines and Hellions into the main.
Yeah, could be. Widow Mine way out there in front, hoping to catch either a Banshee or any of these Hellions, any unit that comes across the map. Yeah, the big group of units here for Flash. He wants to put on a lot of pressure. Now, if his Marine Ball gets hit by that Widow Mine, that is disastrous. He cannot let that happen. He needs to be careful about his control.
Yeah, that would be an absolute nightmare situation. That would shut down anything he had planned.
Yeah, because all the Marines will go down to like 5 health if that happens.
A lot of Marines out for Sari right now, but nothing much else. Widow Mine, ton of Marines, and a Viking. So if these units manage to get into the main base via ferrying, he could do so much damage. But he's got to be paying attention to this mine. I don't think he is.
Nope. Oh, well, that wasn't the best way to split it, but...
Hey, this bunker's pretty empty, too. Only one Marine in the bunker. I don't think Flash realized, though.
Yeah, he doesn't know. He's going to go for the ferry, like you were saying. There's a few Marines here. They're in position now. He just needs to make sure that he controls them well. Oh, this Viking is really, really important. Without that Viking, this would be a nightmare. Look at that. Kills him medevac. Now he just needs to pull back. He does not want to fight against those Hellions on the low ground. The Viking will land here. And this gets totally shut down.
Wow. Flash really butchering that attack. He's going to go into the mine again. No, he's going to fight it.
Oh, my God.
Oh, my goodness.
He barely kills it.
Yeah, he kills it for another Hellion, like, and a scan. Very weird decision-making from Flash. I think he was a little bit flustered after that very failed attack. He's like, you know what? Let's just make it even worse.
That Viking did so much for Sari there.
Yeah, that shut down everything very quickly.
He repaired it too, right?
Yeah,
he's working on that.
Repairing it up. Not a bad choice.
He's going to have a Raven now, too, and he's reactoring out Viking. He's going to have total air control.
Complete air control, that's for sure, yeah. Flash with that Raven. Third command center.
Ooh, look at this, though. Extra barracks and an eBay versus, of course, Flash is going to mech. So we're actually going to have a variation here on these styles. Sari is going to be going for bio, as you predicted, like a little bit more of an aggressive style. But he needs to get Stim coming up here pretty soon if he's actually going to be going for this.
The money scan sees all, sees exactly that it is going to be mech double factory, and that starport into place. Not really making anything right now, not making Banshees, which is probably the important thing to note. So Sari should be feeling pretty comfortable right now. He's like kind of understanding what he has to do in this game, at least to start things off. Okay, time to take map control, start applying the pressure with bio tank, and from here, try and deny a third and fourth base for as long as possible.
I feel like he doesn't need this many Vikings. I'd rather see him invest gas into Stim because he's got so many Marines, and you know that's like what he's going to be relying on in this early game. I feel like the reason why he started reactoring his Vikings out earlier is because he was scared that Flash was going to do this one of the like quick 2-base pushes with siege tanks. And if he doesn't have air control and Flash has more tanks in him and more Hellions, and he just kind of ends up getting bullied.
Yeah.
But now he doesn't really need those anymore. Now he finally gets the Stim on the way. He's got +1 coming up pretty soon as well. And then Flash does get the same reverse money scan, so he knows it's against bio. And I'd say Flash is probably going to be pretty happy about this because his mech is really good and he's practiced against a lot of bio.
I do like the fact that I kind of like the fact that he invested so much in Vikings, because one of the scarier things about dealing with mech is the Hellbat drops when it gets to that point of the game. It is a little bit earlier than necessary, but if he can deny the Medivac from coming out, he can deny them from getting anywhere near his bio army, he's in such a great place.
Looks like he's just going to try to camp the starport. Perhaps even go for some SCV kills here.
He could actually just fly on in and land, and there's nothing to stop him.
I think he's going to do just that. Look at that. He's positioning himself at the back here. Could actually kill the siege tank. Okay, here we go. He's just going to fight this auto turrets here to block at the front. Wow. Could actually kill the armory. That would be pretty cool. It looks like that's exactly what he's going to go for. Even targeting his auto turrets on it. Then you just lift away because there's nothing to stop him from escaping.
There's
no anti-air.
None at all. I mean, we have a Thor on the way now, but
too far. Barracks as well.
That would also be a huge blow right now. Not at this point. You need a couple more factories before you can let that go.
Man, and now he's got a third base up. Now we do have some counter harass here with this auto turret and a few Vikings. He's going to get a siege tank and a few SCVs, it looks like. Not terrible here, but it's definitely not as good as what we just saw from Sorry. And Sorry is going to kill every Viking that comes out. Flash shouldn't even be making these. Why is he even making those?
Well, now Thor is out, so they will get scared away. He could land at this base as well. I mean, there's only Hellions right now to defend against this.
Flash needs to siege up in the main base with that tank he's got there. Oh boy, this is already denying so much mining.
And a lot of Hellions are going to go down for this. I mean, Vikings do just fine against them.
Even the auto turret stays alive quite a long time against those two.
This is a weird this is just a weird game, Wolf. Flash kind of falling apart in a lot of ways, not really on top of his defense or his aggression.
Well, Flash is one of the players known for failing to adapt in weird games, weird situations, and I mean, this is definitely as weird as it gets in TVT.
Wow, a tank goes down as well. Things are just getting worse and worse, and we see the SCV kills really rack up.
Oh, look at this. Gonna try to trade these Vikings out. I think he should probably just leave, though. The Thor is definitely gonna win this fight.
Thor will win, but will they kill each other?
Flash has said he's had enough.
Yeah. Oh man,
I've had enough of these Viking drops.
Seriously. Well, now the supply difference is pretty large. About a 20 supply lead for Sorry. His army's getting pretty impressive as well, but it's mostly ground, and he's up against a pretty anti-ground sort of mech army right now with a lot of Hellbats as well as tanks.
Flash doesn't have any medevacs, and a lot of his Hellions are actually a bit damaged from earlier, so keep that in mind as well. Like, some of those in the red and in the yellow, just because they're fighting those landed Vikings. And this bio is about to have 1-1. Flash's +1 is a bit late because he lost that armory early on. So something to keep in mind. We do see a ton of tanks being added here from Sorry off 3 factories, so he's almost... I don't want to say he's switching into mech, but he's going to a very tank-heavy bio sort of army, so it's like Marauder, Marine, Tank, mostly Marauder.
Yeah, we have seen this a couple times before. I do like it because, I mean, when it all comes down to it, it's all about the tank versus tank positioning and numbers beyond anything else. But, you know, air importance is still pretty relevant, so I'm kind of surprised we don't see much more Vikings being made from Sorry. You know, he made that big bunch at the start.
Yeah.
And then he decided to stay away from them from then onwards. So that could come back to bite him now that we see Medivacs full Flash.
Exactly.
Able to drop Hellbats.
Something else to keep in mind is we sometimes see players who go for this almost pure Marauder tank army end up losing out to just simply fighting, you know, Banshees. Like the transition to Banshees if Flash gets air control, which he already has now, can be a big problem. Flash is making like a bajillion turrets, by the way. He's really investing a lot of money into that, which is, I feel okay because... I mean, he knows to get some mobile force, he knows drops are scary, and gas is really the limiting factor for him going for mech rather than minerals. It's kind of just dumping those into Hellbats and turrets.
Yeah, I think it's pretty just at this point. But here we go. Sorry, setting up very close by with a lot more tanks at that natural of Flashes. Scan goes down, but it's not in range. Sorry, or at least one of them should be trying to invest more into air so they can safely just, you know, always have the positioning they need to with the tanks to dominate them.
Small Bioforce here will get shut down by the Hellbat drop. Doesn't even get a refinery. It looks like he just got a turret. But, you know, still a little bit of harassment here. And Flash, you know, one thing Flash isn't really doing in this game is sending 1 or 2 medevacs of Hellbats around the map. That's usually what you do with mech because it's the one mobile harass kind of force you can actually use. We do see a bunker set up at the third base of Sorry, which is really cool because that's actually really, really good at defending these kind of drops. But, you know, I'm just a bit surprised Flash doesn't actually harass a little bit more. He's playing insanely turtly right now.
Yeah, he's almost maxed out as well, which is kind of a surprise. Like, maybe it's time to start spending some money on harassment. I mean, a lot of these bases for Sorry are pretty undefended, except for that third base that does have the bunker. Wouldn't be a bad choice at all, but it looks like Flash just wants to go into a fourth and turtle it even further.
Ooh, if this army moves away, he can actually kill this base easily with this big drop. Okay, he's actually distracting these tanks. It's a perfect opportunity. Here he comes. Big stim in here. This Bioforce is just going to annihilate this command center. He's got enough Marines that he should be able to target that down. Does not target it, unfortunately, but looks like it might still die.
And if he commits to it, he might, because there's no tanks at all. Looks like Flash completely committing to the middle of the map, and he's doing pretty damn well for it.
Yeah, a lot of that bio is missing because of the attack, and he knows this, and that PDD protects these tanks so well against that Marauder force, and Flash is going to destroy this army. So he loses mining, he loses a base, but he gets an excellent trade here and actually takes a 50 supply lead. The question is, can he capitalize on this? This Bioforce is actually now starting to rip into his natural, and he's actually losing reinforcements.
Oh man, yeah, that's not a good way at all. Actually, Flash is in a lot of trouble. 31 SCVs going down behind that. Supply lead kind of switching a big way. A lot more tanks going down as well. These bios just allowed to run free right now. So Flash, he's going to have to almost end the game with the army that he has at this 4th base.
Yeah, you know, I actually even thought his army was bigger than it is, but if you look at it, it's 69 supply, and he's lost his production, essentially. I mean, he lost so many SCVs, he got his production camped, and, you know, a mech army needs a ton of economy to support it, to remix these expensive units.
Yeah, he maybe jumped the gun with this kind of base trade scenario. At this point, like, the supply lead for Sari right now is insane for this matchup. It's like, how are you actually still in this game, Flash? Because being down 60 supply like this, it should almost be obvious that it's over, but I guess most of it was his SCV supply, so he can still work at least a little bit with this army.
Yeah, I'm going to be totally honest with you, I got confused by the supplies at the top right. Like, I was like, whoa, how is he actually? I thought he was ahead because of that fight, but either way, a big fight here, and this is going to be, you know, a decent trade for Flash, but it's just not good enough. It's just simply not good enough.
Certainly not.
He just
way
can't
too many
produce
units
as much as Sari can. So even though the supplies even up a little bit more here, you know, Sari could just trade out these Vikings and kill the last of these siege tanks, and he can just keep making bio. Flash scans, he's like, oh my god, you have a 5th base?
That's a GG scan right there. Yeah. He's like, oh my god.
Sari's like, you shouldn't have spent so much money on turrets.
Yeah, imagine if he didn't, he'd have like another army. He maxed out already.
Like, can you actually press T and check how many turrets are on the map? A lot of them have been destroyed, but he has 12 turrets right now. Guarantee you he probably had 20 at some point with all the turrets that have been going down this game.
I'm sure he did.
That's like 2,000 minerals.
Well, Flash is trying to make a game of this still. You know, he's down 50 supply. He still has, you know, 4 mining bases, though they aren't fully saturated. I mean, the natural's completely unsaturated right now. 3 in the main. The only one that's even close to saturation is that 3rd base. The new 4th is getting up there. It is a planetary as well, so it can hold on if it needs to be, if it needs to defend itself.
Look at the upgrades for Sari. He's getting +3 weapons for his tanks. He's all about to have +3 attack for his bio. And Flash's army's just spread so thin here. He does have a planetary here, which is going to make it difficult for Sari to just directly engage us, but he can eventually wear it down. Does Flash find an opportunity while a lot of this army's out of position? I think that might be his best option. I think he might have to just let this base go.
Yeah, there's no way he's breaking into that anytime soon. I guess he can repair it for a while. Maybe this drop will help out if he gets the tanks that are actually in range of the planetary. Nope.
Just too much support. Looks like he's going to go over here into this turret mine, landmine field almost over here. Turret field, and break through this 3rd base. And Flash just is spread too thin. He scans. He's like, oh, you don't have anything coming to defend us? Cool. I have twice the army that you do.
Well, he's going to lift up, save what he can, but I mean, he's getting pretty contained at this point, only on 1 mining base. His army so damn small, nearly half the supply.
GG. Sari takes it. Gonna tie things up. Flash just really struggling to deal with those Vikings in the early game.
Man, he struggled a lot. Like, even his fairy attack, his taking the Widowmine hit, so weird that it happened that way. Like, a very, very messy sort of early game there.
Yeah, it absolutely was. And I don't know, man. Sari definitely proving he's a force to be reckoned with. Prepared a cool build. You know, dealt with that attack very, very well. And, you know, I think some people would say this is an upset. I was slightly favoring Sari just because I find Flash's TBT to be a bit lackluster.
Yeah, especially after that kind of game. My mind has certainly been changed. I'm like, well, I got to think twice before I vote for Flash and TBT. If he's going to play like that, he plays some of the other matchups so nicely, like his Terran vs. Kronos. I love to see if it gets off the ground untouched, but you know, that was a disaster.
It's really good to see a player like Sari as well have this success. You know, to beat one of the idols of, you know, Korean esports, and he's actually trying to, you know, show that he is one of the best players in the world. He's on SKT. He's like, I am on SKT. I just beat Flash. This is the Telecom Wars. They're using me on the Telecom Wars, and I took a win. And it just starts to even give further depth to this insane SKT lineup that they have. Like,
it's terrifying. Like, this guy is like a B-teamer on their team. He's the one that's a practice partner. He's allowed to come out because his teammates went overseas for a week, and he beats Flash. It's disgusting.
It's really good to see, just again, additional depth. Now, we are going to go into TY versus Classic after a 3-minute break, guys. We'll be right back.